at least 50%. So
Yeah.
we're gonna at least we're getting Watercolor Wednesday with Pepper. Guy
Yeah.
is still working on getting the Kitty Wake model ready to go because I really want to get back to doing pages, and that means that this stuff needs to be done. So there's that. So okay.
So I got these watercolors from the one I'm testing out right now is from Rocky Mountain Paint Company. They are based in Fort Collins. And I think I actually make a color very similar to this, but mine disperses and this one does not. Huh.
I was gonna say, I think I have that color.
Yeah. So,
My spaceship hull green that I like to use.
yeah. So this one's called Lake Water. It's from Rocky Mountain Paint Co. This is just a test sample. So just to show you how opaque or non-opaque it is. There's the little squiggly line. There you go. And I'm just like testing these today for you guys because like I just realized I haven't really done very much watercolor recently for you. And I kind of like need to do it anyway. So, right, guy. I need to do it for them.
Sometimes you just have to do the thing.
Yeah.
I have the wrong widget controls
Ooh.
on here.
Ooh.
Even weirder.
So this particular palette that I'm working with is also from Ruby Mountain Paint Co. This is the leather bound palette. So I believe both the owner of Ruby Mountain Paint Co. and myself use the same Monte Carlo green pigment when we make our Monte Carlo green. Hers is a little bit richer than mine. It's a little bit more heavier pigmented. So I really do enjoy like when I see hers. But these are all supposed to be like basically connected to leather, or the color of leather. Ooh, the mulled wine is really, really opaque.
Hence the Monte Carlo green.
Yeah. And burnt sienna, which a lot of people use as a base for skin tones.
Mm-hmm.
Raw umber, which is another one that a lot of people use for cooler base skin tones. And then titanium buff or buff titanium, however you want to do it. This one is definitely going to be on the more opaque side for most paint makers, including like bigger brands. I have found buff titanium or titanium, anything with titanium in it is going to have more of a consistency of being opaque compared to others. So I did that for you guys. So now I have my color, like what the colors are supposed to look like inside my palette. And now you get to see. This one is the one that I think I showed you at our event this past weekend, Guy. But I didn't use it at the event.
So you're being asked by Brent how your event went or how the event went last week for you.
Well, I don't know about Guy, but I know what I made. And I calculated it up, and I think at the end of the day, we made table 4 times after calculating it between both days. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's fairly a very good, decent amount. Especially for a first time convention that was being held after a 2-year delay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I met a lot of people. I got to geek out with the director of Scooby Doo Mysteries Incorporated, the one that had like a more cinematic feel instead of a traditional Scooby Doo episodic series. Um, I wish I had done it sooner instead of like towards the tail end of the event, but
Right.
it was really fun to talk to him. What about you, Guy? How was your experience?
It wasn't bad. I mean, I made table plus about, I think I said it plus about um, $30, $30, I think. So table plus $30.
Okay,
It's certainly not bad at all.
nice.
So that's not a bad. I mean, for me, I didn't expect miracles. So
Well, I always hope for miracles.
right, but it was okay.
Mm. I was actually hoping for more. I'll be honest,
More than
more than what I made.
yeah, I was too. But that's okay. It is okay.
Yeah,
Um, not I'm not. I'm concentrating on what I'm doing here. Sorry.
nah, it's all right.
Um,
I figured you
show
had
him
me
some of your
talking.
Scooby Doo work was the question.
The Scooby Doo one?
Did you show him some of your Scooby Doo work past?
No, I didn't, and I should have because like part of me feels like if I had shown him some work, maybe he would have like been like, you seem perfect for this type of job. How about you would like it?" And then like that's just me wishful thinking. I don't think I could actually move to Burbank, California right now. So yeah, there's that.
There are a lot of things that I often think about. Like, I found a page on Facebook called like Manga Creator 101 or something like that. It's a thing about manga creation, and I know 95% of what he said, but the 5% that he talked about was really really useful and like very clear. Um yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. He says I was hoping for Josephus to pull up with the horse miracle to save King Louis the 16th and Madame Rimbold. So, anyway, um right. I was watching History of the World Part 1 last night.
Yeah.
Yes. No, 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 yes. No, 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 yes. No, no, yes. No, 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 no. Madeline Kahn's awesome. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
so I don't remember what I was saying. I was saying something that was vitally important, clearly important. Oh,
clearly important.
yeah, it was so this site. It's good to be the king. Uh, Pawn jumps the queen. Um, everybody jumps the queen. Okay, I'm sorry. That's an eminently quotable movie. So, uh, I was reading on this site this morning when I couldn't sleep because I woke up at 2 in the morning and then didn't go back to sleep. So I'm running kind of a little low today. Anyway, yep. So
It's all right. It's all right.
anyway, I was watching this or reading this page about making manga, and they were talking about waves and flows through 32 pages of manga. But how this relates to what you were saying, because that's not what I wanted to talk about. But I am so sleep deprived right now that I'm actually kind of wandering off target a lot. So
It's all right, guy.
we're getting there. Um, what I was saying was, I noticed that he was doing a lot of submit your work and maybe I can find a place for you in our manga company sort of things. And I was like, I don't know if I want to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm good. I want to make Bellatrix Rising. I want to get it out the door. I'm just getting all the crap off of my table here. Hang on.
It's
With
all
my
right.
brush. Um, I want to do Bellatrix Rising. That's what I want to do. And
Yeah.
not really, even if somebody did offer me a, hey, work for free or work for free, work for money at a, I mean, I probably would take it just because we're a little short on money, but still kind of feel like I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. Interesting. So anyway, that's just related to what you were saying on that one was I don't know if I would if you were saying I wouldn't move to Burbank. I'm like, I don't know if I would move to, Japan. I'd move to Japan, but I don't know if I'd move to Japan to do the jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean. I just think that like we're just getting settled into this new house. It's nice. I like it a lot. But also at the same time, both me and Bill don't want to move to we don't want to move to California. Like we
Yeah.
like it here.
Who wants to move to California? Man.
Well, you know what? There are people who like California that much. So,
No. Come on, Pepper. You come up with these weird ideas. So strange.
eh. So right now
Yeah.
I'm actually
I
testing out this palette to see on how well all the colors mix. And because there's soil in them, they kind of disperse and separate. Um, so this is interesting to say the least.
man. All right.
So, well, I have one of your books because Bill bought it at the convention.
Uh-huh. And you already have like edits that need to be made.
No, actually, I haven't really gone through it because Bill took it and it's in Bill's area. So I don't know. Do you want
Good
him to
morning,
pick it
Donald.
apart?
Oh, you know what? Actually, somewhere along the line, let's do that. Let's just have a show where we go through it and take it apart because there will be another iteration of that. I really want those 25 to be kind of special. So, um, those 25 that we made were the first ones that were ever made of Bellatrix Rising, and they will be super special and super rare in that we may release that book again, but I think I want to go through and make some edits, clean up some wording, things like that, because I think some of the
Yeah,
wording is kind of spaghetti. And, so
yeah,
the TLDR on this is, yeah, that'd be fine. We can certainly do, critiques on it and stuff like that if you really wish. Um,
it's all right. If you don't want to do it, guy, it's fine too.
uh-huh. I don't know. I'm pretty straightforward. I'm
Yeah,
not a complicated person. If I don't want to do it, we're not doing it. you know.
yeah.
So I
All
wouldn't
right.
worry. I'm not going to sit there and go, yeah, well, I guess so. If you really want to. I'll sit there and say nope, because there will be like we're gonna release a comic, and yeah, because Brent's right. Parts of it were rushed. We tried to get it together as fast as possible. It
Yeah.
had to be set in stone. So there's going to be pieces of this that were like, yeesh, what the heck were we
Mm.
thinking? You know. So
Oh, quick ask. This is more personal than art. Um, are you coming up this weekend?
no,
No. Okay.
first weekend would have been last weekend.
Okay. All right.
Can
Point
you get
taken.
something?
I just wanted to make sure because Bill had asked if you were still coming up.
Oh yeah, we have something for every weekend for like the next couple, because it seems like um, yeah, actually, Ghost Hand, I think that's absolutely the truth here in this instance. I think that we rushed it, but it's better than the alternative, which would be just stuck in development hell forever. I think you're absolutely right. So
Mm.
that's absolutely true.
All
I'm making
right.
a jetway for all of you who, want to stay in a pressurized area. Come on. Weird.
Cheese. Cheese Louise. All righty.
I was realizing that my characters are going to just clip the neck piece of their, or since the only people who are walking to the spaceship or to the kitty wake are really legitimately just um Mirel. She's just going to clip her neck piece closed and just walk across the bay. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she's got 2 hours of oxygen in her spacesuit just by default, and the ability to use RC thrusters to get herself to a wall if she needs to. So unless something really bad happens in the bay, she's fine.
Mm. Sorry, I have like work also messaging me while I'm on here, so I'm like trying to do both.
It's all right.
Uh, but no, I think
So
just
I was gonna
seeing
also say next week is free comic book day as well,
next week.
or
Free
next
comic
month.
book
Next month.
next month is
So the next first of the month, May 1 or May 2 or May 3 or whatever is the first one there. That's free comic book day.
yeah.
In other words, I won't. I don't think I'll be coming up, but I might be hanging with the guys up there. So maybe
Well, we won't be there because we will be at an event.
that
We've
works.
already been invited to free comic book day in another part of Colorado.
It's totally fine, dude. It's all good. I
I'm
just
just letting you know.
that's the next thing that I think will be plausibly the next time that I'll be up there. I don't know.
Mm. So Indian yellow, by the way, I'm not sure if this is true Indian yellow or synthetic, but I really do love the color.
And to answer your question, Donald, yeah, I mean, we all felt like we did relatively well at the con.
Well, I think the convention for, like I said, for being like a first year convention, um, it was really good. You know, it wasn't too busy, but it wasn't like dead. I think it helped that we had Disney on Ice going right
Yeah,
next door.
because
So
I
while
think we
all
had
the
a bunch of
parents
people
and
who were
every
like, Disney sounds cool.
yeah,
Oh, hey, what's this comic book thing?
yeah. I mean, it was because like if you think about it, while they're waiting to get in, you have a bunch of parents that are like, "Oh, what's going on over here?"
Yep.
let's expose my child to this. you know, um, I had a really good discussion with one parent who was an adoptive parent. So I got to meet him and his son and got to hear about his journey. And I was really happy to have that experience for sure. They were my only sale on Saturday, so on Sunday. Um, so I mean, it was extra thing. But Sunday, I kept wandering away from my table, and since Bill wasn't there to kind of rein that behavior in, I just kind of allowed it to occur.
Yeah.
Um, and then we had the panel, which was literally one person that we just had a chat with, which was good too.
But it was fun.
Yeah, it was. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Um, I mean, the only downside of that panel was Raph was there, so
He's not here to be abused, though,
let's abuse him and then make him come on to the show.
right?
All right. So I'm trying to figure out for Watercolor
Oh,
Wednesday.
spam risk. Search. Sorry.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out, folks, what colors should I go with for the stream today? I don't want to do all of them. It's a little bit much.
It is windy out there.
Oh yeah. My fireplace. The wind keeps blowing out the front.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps blowing it out and then back in because of the strength of the wind. It's going down my chimney and moving moving the protective plate.
Donald or Brent says teal. That's what
Teal.
Brent says.
Okay. Teal. I don't have teal. Do I have teal? Where's the teal? This one?
I guess. I like that one. I vote that.
Okay. All right. Should I add this one to this particular palette right here, along with the red?
What? Are you trying to build a palette?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what type of palette I want to utilize.
Hmm.
So if I use
Yeah.
this one right here, Phthalo Blue, which is a tealish, it's the only tealish blue I have. Because it's more of a brighter, warmer Phthalo Blue, which, Guy, I know you love
I
your
love
Phthalo
yellow
Blue.
blue.
You love your Phthalo Blues.
I love
I was thinking this red right here pair well nicely with it. Yeah, a little bit. And then pair that with this palette right here. And do you think that should be good for a new image? Yes, no, maybe so. I'm not looking
No,
at the
it
thing.
looks good.
Guy's gonna have to answer for me.
I think it looks good.
Okay. Well then I will put everything aside. Hope I don't like mess anything up over here on this end. All right. Here we go. Here we go. And I guess I should draw something before painting.
Oh, come on. So weird.
I know, so rude.
How rude.
Stephanie Tanner. I mean, Guy.
All right. It's docking gate. Not 100% sure how tall I want this docking gate to be.
All right. Hmm.
Self-portrait Pepper.
I don't. I don't really like drawing myself, actually.
I don't either.
I mean, I can. I just don't like to.
I'm feeling space cadet-y, like super space cadet-y. Boy, I'm having real issues.
Ooh. You know what? I like space cadets.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Do retro space cadet where the helmet looks super flimsy. Oh yeah. And these colors would definitely work with that. Cuz who needs to breathe in the void of space with a filter, right?
Right. Okay, so that's the outer side of the door. I've had 2 nights in a row now of no sleep, and that's starting to wear on me.
Hmm. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and it just means that after this, after the
You need to
show,
take a nap.
I'm gonna take a nap. Paint a character for Bellatrix Rising.
I am. His name is Chimpy.
Chimpy. uh, you're like, and that's what you get. Draw a space kitty that could be George's cosmic cousin. Boy, they're giving you all kinds of great stuff.
I know, right? Let's see. I already gave it a beard. So,
Space beardy,
and I gave it ears like a monkey. But I can draw two things, so don't count it out yet.
right? All right. Let's get in here and start working on stuff. First of all, let's work on this forward hull. Because forward hull end up back one level. Yeah, it did. All right. The Cat from Outer Space. Yeah, I like that movie too.
I actually watched it. um
When? Yesterday?
not yesterday. I want to say maybe a week ago
Wow.
because it's on Disney Plus.
Right? I'm with you.
Um it was interesting because like initially when I watched it the first time on Disney Plus, I kind of got interested on the type of cat that they used
Mm-hmm.
because I remember in that time frame, like the cats that were used for like films and stuff were the pretty much the same cat. Um,
His name was Bob.
well, same cat breed is what I
I'm,
mean.
I'm just teasing.
Um, although it would be interesting if I looked at the credits and the cat was named Bob. That would be fun.
I would be downright shocked at that point in time. I'd be like,
Well,
wait,
you can
what?
always look it up, guy.
Yep.
Always look it up.
I'll leave that to Brent or Donald. They can look it up.
So I'm drawing the Simian unit for Bellatrix Rising now.
The Simian unit. Gotcha.
It's a new race for you, guy.
Thanks.
And they work with the feline unit.
The feline unit.
I'll draw two felines. One down here.
Oh, well, now I'm horribly curious.
What are you curious for, guy?
Jake.
Are you curious about the cat?
Uh-huh. So Jake was actually played by two Abyssinian cats, Rumple and his twin sister Amber.
Rumple and Hammer?
Rumple and his twin sister Amber. So the cat and the cat for outer space. His name was Jake, and the cats that played him were Rumple and Amber. Neither of them Bob.
Very sorry. Very sorry, guy. Sorry for dashing your dreams.
I know. That's a bummers, but that's okay. Alrighty. Alrighty then. Everything else looks relatively straightforward. I don't know if I need to just necessarily do stuff. Do feel like I want to separate out these windows. They feel kind of like
I have a fan theory that in Bellatrix Rising that you use the simian unit and the cat unit to like detonate bombs.
To detonate bombs. Okay. There's no reason why it can't work like that, I guess. Right. Right. Bob was the understudy. So we're deciding.
Yes, I will completely back. Bob was the understudy. I can see a cat named Bob actually trying to trip up his coworkers to become the main cat.
The main cat, yep. The producers are all getting together. We got to do something about Bob. I mean, he just keeps tripping up all the other cats. He keeps eating Jake's food.
I thought all the cats were supposed to be fixed. Why is he doing that?
Right. Hate to say this, but I think he's screwing over the other cats. Wait. Man, we've got our own like fanfic going here.
Exactly. Isn't it great?
Yeah.
You have your own fanfic of your own comic.
Can you fanfic your own story? I'm wondering.
Well, I know Stephanie Myers did it. She actually did it, and she submitted it to an actual fan, like an actual like contest, right?
Uh-huh.
Under a pseudonym, and she lost.
That's even funnier.
Yeah, so someone else won like a fanfic thing for her book, and I read the fanfic, and it's just as bad as her actual writing.
Right?
I was just like, oh, well, now we know why it failed.
Right. That's rule 34, Ghost Hand. That's rule 34. Which is actually what I'm alluding to with General Order 24 and on in the comic. Because it's funny. Ghost Hand saying, well, you're going to hang on, Brian, because I'm putting these lines down and they're very, very touchy. So you've shown up at the wrong time. Brian just showed up.
I heard a little doo-doo.
Yeah, that's the Hone. Hone's back. And their life together again. That's good. Welcome back, Hone. All right. I don't know if we can hear you yet, Brian.
Test
And
it.
now we can hear you.
Okay.
You just didn't say anything. Is that you texting me to tell me you're here?
No.
Not at all. I would never do that, guy.
Before I go check my phone and go, oh, it's just Brian texting me to say he's here.
It isn't me saying I'm here.
You're finally back to the home. You're right, Hone. Welcome back home. Welcome home.
Okay.
There are weird things going on this. I'm looking at this with the map on top of it, and I can already see like bits of this map are all screwed up. It's like, and I don't want to go back into Blender and rework it. It finally is straight. It's finally sitting here and kind of getting, and I really just don't want to mess with it. So I'm not going to, but I am giving it the evil eye. Yeah, we got everybody here. We've got Ghost Town, we've got Hone, Brent, and Donald.
All that's missing is Raph and Colton and
Yeah, no, we'd have all of the whole crew here. Okay. Bloop. Which means when Brian attacks. I gotta switch to that. I switch to that. Then I switch to that. And then I switch to that. There's a lot of switching going on here. There. There. That took a lot of putting things in different places. But it worked. Look at us.
Yay!
Don't go crazy, honey. We need you too badly to save the world. I don't know. Everybody should save the world. I'm just saying. Is this super windy out where you are too, Brian?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's super windy
We're
here.
being assaulted by tumbleweeds right now.
Yep. I tumbled it. I think maybe I'm just going to go ahead and make the landing bay all black. I am not fixing star maps. I promised you no more star maps.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't work.
I don't lie. I saw those star maps up.
Yep. All that you're going to do is make Brent glare at me for making star maps. Although,
Yeah.
I actually, as much time as I spent on those maps, I'm actually really happy with them now.
He says that. And in about a month, he'll be looking and goes, and I screwed this up. And I have to go back and do it again.
I have to
Entire star map.
reinvent the math.
Yeah.
All I was headed for when I did it though was accurate to the what we know now. And then I'm going to leave it. That was my abandoned point. The only reason I ever went back to do any of those things was because I realized the math was wrong. Yeah, keep going on the animation project, honey. Keep going, keep going. We're here for you. We're your cheerleading team.
Go Hone!
Yep. Rah, rah, rah.
Tis Boom Betty. Let's
Yep.
hear it for my pal Yeti.
You have a pal that's a Yeti?
Doesn't everybody?
You know, I was calling him Sasquatch, yet he never complained.
Was that being called?
Messages from Bill.
I thought I heard myself being called. Was I
Are
being
you a
called?
Sasquatch?
Are you a Sasquatch?
Or
Because
a
we were
Yeti?
talking about
I
Yeti.
mean, I'm a little hairy.
We call you hirsute.
I thought I was just Italian, but
You know, things happen. Things happen.
all right.
How you doing, Bill?
Not too bad.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
No, I was making bad jokes about Yetis.
Oh.
We were calling them Sasquatch. Yeti never complained.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I can't help myself. I'm compulsive. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
So
The dad jokes are strong with him.
when have they not been? So
Well, me and Bill have to learn them from somewhere, Brian.
right.
The best Sasquatch representation I've ever seen was in Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to get back to work.
Okay.
You all have fun.
We will.
Will do.
Thank you.
And we'll
Thank
stay
you,
out of trouble,
Bill.
mostly.
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
Mostly. They mostly stay out of trouble.
Why did you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? There we go. Right? We'll need to do something funny in 5 minutes, so Bill has a reason to come back in.
No, we just need to fake calling his name again, and he'll come back in, no problem.
Right?
Watch, I say that, and he comes in.
Right? That'd be funny. All right, landing bay. I think I'll just leave that like that. That sounds pretty good right there. I'm no longer going to let that end at that point. So where are the internal sides? That's these. Or bring up Star Trek, yeah.
Or just bring up Bellatrix Rising that he talked to you at the convention about.
Yeah, we were deep in that discussion. That was pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing like pictures from Wicked West, and I'm like, they had that there. Crozier had a picture of him. Was it Crozier? So anyways, someone had one of those pictures at a photo stand. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
where did they have that at?
It was in the other room. It wasn't really
Clearly marked.
clearly. Well, no, it was marked on the map, but since they did everything digital map wise, a lot of people didn't realize where things were.
Namely, us, apparently.
Because we went by the photo booth Sunday, I believe, when we had the panel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Brian didn't go with us to the panel.
No.
In fact,
Because
I
you
don't
didn't
even know
ask
where.
him to. Huh?
In fact, I don't even know where the panel rooms were. I do know what they were called, and I was making fun of them for it. But
True.
I mean, come on. You hear Fortress of Solitude, yeah, it's associated with Superman, but in my brain, I was picturing the bathrooms.
Well, they were by a bathroom, so there's that. Feel like that might. I may. Feel like it needs eyebrows. So airplanes often have like widgets and things that make it look like it's got eyebrows. Some airplanes have windows up here. We only have that one top window.
Others have apples.
Others have apples.
And some have Apple TVs.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
Expensive.
What, you don't like Apple TVs?
I don't like Apple, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Don't come to my house, son. We have Apple pretty much everything.
Star Trek fan. I see. Around that corner. To this side. Okay. This side. One of these things is not like the other.
One of these things is dead.
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is not like your mother. What?
In bed.
Heyo,
Hey,
heyo.
that went south quick.
Well, I wanted the joke to stop.
Right.
How do you get something to stop when you're with your friends? Make a your mama joke.
Have you met my friends?
Well,
Because, like,
seeming that I am one.
yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if that's ever stopped us. Just saying.
I mean, we're all what, 4?
Yeah, I was going to say, we all have the mental whatever. Our brains are 12. Our brains are definitely 12. All right.
Good thing this isn't like something I'm selling.
Yeah, I had that problem with that commission. And it was something I was selling.
I'm just having fun with this. So, does everyone like the monkey with the 2 cats so far?
Yeah, hold it up to the monitor just a little bit more, though. There we go. Monkey with the 2 cats. Look at that. That looks pretty cool, actually. We're good with it at this point. So far, so good. All right. We're going to real quickly go Control Shift S. And we will, or not Control, but Windows Shift S. And then paste. Paste it in here. All right. All of a sudden, we are.
One of us. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from.
This morning, I got into like this really elaborate argument that I really shouldn't have because that was part of the reason why I couldn't sleep. And it's amazing. You guys familiar with the um, Dunning-Kruger curve?
No,
I
I've
know the
never heard of
name.
it before.
Yeah. So
I know the name. I just don't know
the
where
Dunning-Kruger,
this conversation's going.
Argentina. Um, the
Don't start for me.
Dunning-Kruger curve is a fascinating thing whereby um, whereby it's this curve that is how people recognize stuff. So at the top of the curve, you start to learn a thing, and then you start at the top of the curve where you think you know everything about the thing. Then it all of a sudden drops down, and that's when you actually learn more. The more you learn, the more you realize, oh crap, I don't know the thing. And then it comes back up the other side. I run into this a lot, I noticed, on the internet. People are stuck at this top part up here. Because, like, there was this article that was posted by a radio station or a TV station or something. It was like, which is better, electric cars or gas cars? And everybody was up here at the top of this Dunning-Kruger curve. Well, electric cars only go 5 miles and then they catch fire. You can only drive an electric car for, 6 weeks. It's like, do you guys own one? It's like, no, but we just know that's the truth. It's like, I have one. I have one. I actually drive it. It's my daily driver. And it's a great car. It's a solid vehicle. And it's like, where do you guys get all this information? You guys are so sure that you.
I mean, I know someone who was asking about getting a rental car, and they were trying to find out if they wanted to rent an electric car or a gas car for a road trip. And I pointed out, I was like, you would have to plan everything really like around fueling the electric car.
It's true. But the truth is, if you take your car out into take it to California, a regular car, you have the same problem.
Yeah.
Because there are parts of California where there are no gas stations for 250 miles. And if your car gets worse than 250 miles on a tank.
Yeah, I mean, I think electric cars, like Bill wants one, and now that we have a house, like he would probably want to get one too if we can afford it. But right now we can't really afford a second mortgage. Because he wants a Tesla.
The Model 3 is much cheaper. That one's in the normal range, 35,000.
Yeah.
Which is a very normal range for a car. That was like the weirdest things in these discussions, because they would sit there and say, well, electric cars are simply too expensive. And I'm like, well, a Leaf, which is the car we've got, a Leaf starts at 29,000. And then they would say, well, who has 29,000 to spend? And I'm like, well, if you don't have 29,000 to spend, you can't afford any cars anyway.
Yeah.
A Kia Soul starts at 19,000. I mean, and that's the cheapest car you could possibly get at the bottom of the, and there, it's like, well, I can't afford, and I'm like, well, that's not indicting on an electric. I mean, that's just indicting that cars are expensive.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, and then it costs $10,000 to replace the batteries. And I'm like, that actually is absolutely true. But we had a Chevy Aveo before we had our Leaf, and it blew a transmission. That cost us $6,500. Then it blew out the radiator, and the only way to replace the radiator was to remove the engine. So that was $7,500. So within 3 years, it already cost us more than the batteries did. And the batteries have to be replaced once every 7 years or 8 years. So it's like really, honestly, it's almost like in their minds, electric cars have all these problems and gas cars have zero problems. They never break. They never have any issue. It's like,
just ask the people of Omaha about my.
Yeah, you buy them brand new for $3 and a cookie, and it's like, what? Like they were talking about, if everybody goes to electricity, then all of our electric bills will go up, and I'm like
They
gas
won't go up by much. Like electric cars, yes, they take power from the electrical grid. Yes. But ultimately, I mean, I'm coming from the fact that I've actually studied environmental sciences and businesses. I have a master's degree in it, for crying out loud. Electric cars are better long term because we're improving how we get electricity to our electrical grid every day.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
Whereas gasoline, that's a fossil fuel. Eventually it does run out. And a lot of people think that I have like a very controversial thing about fracking. Like I don't agree with it. In the sense of the old ways of doing fracking. Some of the new technology of fracking is doing very good. I just don't. Me personally, I just don't. I don't consider. I don't consider electric cars to be bad. I just
Yeah.
don't like it when they cut me off and then slow down because they don't have the gas to go the speed limit.
What? Who does that?
Old
Everybody.
people driving a Tesla.
Okay, Teslas have more oomph than any car that I have ever ridden in.
Tell
Our
that to the old lady that I nearly wanted to kill on the road.
Yeah, well, that's the old lady. That has nothing to do with the car. And that's another. That's part of the problem. Is it's so much ad hominem. Like they attack the drivers. Therefore, all electric cars are bad. We can't change to electric cars because that old lady drove really slow. You know, which of course you're not doing, but that's sort of the stuff that I'm coming up with whenever I get into these. Ghost Hand, I think you're right. People get super defensive about fuel because there's a whole infrastructure behind it. Because defending an electric car is defending the death of an entire industry. And I think
Well,
you're absolutely spot on that one.
I just want to
there.
point out that, like, my own family, with the invention of the refrigerator, their business went under not that long after that because they provided ice blocks for ice boxes.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Like, I just
the
want to
fuel
point that
always
out. Like, every single industry has a downfall with
some yeah.
technology.
Well, remember, people hate change.
Yeah.
So anything that
Yep.
forces them to change, it's automatically scary, and we don't want it, even
Right.
if it's
Right.
good for them.
Right.
Yep. Yep. But
So
it's
Bill is in here, folks.
Bill is messages from
Yep.
Bill.
I think the key with any change is, especially when dealing with the human species, is that it has to be something that's adopted voluntarily. And there's plenty of successful examples of that in our history. And if we can just keep pushing the invention of electric vehicles to the point of efficiency where it's just more economical to have one, people will just move that way. However, if you overtly uh, attack the opposing technology to force people, it will be resisted.
Well, the problem is that it is, and there is a massive backlash to it. That's the problem. Like because that's part of what I fight people with all the time. We, of course, have a Leaf and we have a Jetta.
Mm.
And the Leaf uses about $40 of electricity every month, about give or take. Um, so it doesn't use a lot. Well, I mean, especially this last month where we went up to the con, I just put $150 worth of gas in the Jetta, and that's got a 6-speed turbo. So I mean, it really doesn't use up much fuel, relatively speaking. Usually gets about 500 miles to a tank, but I've driven 1,500 miles last month. So, we used up a lot of it. And that's part of the problem is that it's much, much, much more efficient. But then you get these weird ad hominem attacks like, well, yeah, but you think you're being efficient, but you're not because you're using fossil fuels to fuel the grid and stuff like that, which of course, though true, Colorado has 24% renewables in its electrical grid. So
Yeah.
you can argue that, but that means that my car only uses 75% of the fossil fuels that say the Jetta does, because the Jetta is always going to use 100% fossil fuels. There's nothing you can do about that. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like that's a weird ad hominem argument, but man, I mean, like every time a TV station does a analysis between the two, they do weird stuff. Like they compare a Tesla to a Yugo. Well, Tesla are luxury cars. So that'd be kind of like saying, well, we were testing which was better, SUVs or passenger cars, and prices of the Cadillac Escalade compared to, a Kia Soul. It just shows that the Escalade's so much more expensive. It's like, well, yeah, but why would you choose a Cadillac, to do your assessment on? And those are the
Well,
things that I
yeah.
don't get. they did the analysis of how much power the cars use, and they used prime middle of the day power rates. So like at noon in downtown Denver as their base. So they came up with, well, an electric car uses about $150 to $200 worth of electricity every month. And I'm like, ours uses 40, mostly because my wife comes home at night and plugs it in, so it's off the daytime grid. It's on the nighttime charges, which are a lot cheaper. And it's like, but why would you do that? Because 90% of what people will be doing is charging their car at night at home anyway.
Well,
So,
because
Yeah.
that would require the reporter to actually go and look at it at night rather
right.
than during
Well-
the day when they're on the job.
Well, that actually may be true. I mean, that may be a legitimate. He just was looking at the numbers during the day and picked the numbers that made sense.
But that's also your argument is from the biased perspective of someone who has the specific daily driving requirements that they go to work, they don't drive anywhere, and then they drive home and can plug in. Not everyone has that schedule. Some
No.
people, like realtors, are driving around all day, and they're going to need to plug in wherever they're going, and they're going to need to pay those different rates.
Well,
right?
that is also true, but I mean, really, honestly, Bill, how many people in our society have that? Because I know I do because I'm a photographer, and
Mhm.
like the realtors do, but
Mhm.
most of us in the society have a 9 to 5 job, or
I-
10
I'm
to 7.
saying I don't know the statistics, so I'm not going to
Yeah,
basically.
you can't argue that, but I mean,
I'm not going to argue that that majority of society is that way.
no, but I mean, just anecdotal evidence. I can't imagine that there are so many people in our society that have bizarre schedules. But that's not. I mean, that is definitely your point is solid, which is you can't guarantee that's going to be the setup. However, on the same token, there are charging stations all over the place now, and those chargers charge freaking fast. And I mean, legitimately, my wife's car goes 275 miles on a charge.
Mhm.
I don't know if
think
you do
that's
275 in a day.
I think that's the biggest part of the ignorance right now. I think there's a lot of confusion about how long does it take to charge your car, because I know that is a big resistance of people that know they're going to be driving more than that 200-mile range.
Uh-huh.
They're going to I don't want to have to park somewhere for a couple hours to charge my electric vehicle so that I can go another 200, right?
Right.
There's a lot of advancements, but not every charge station has rapid charging.
True.
And if I want to do an electric vehicle here, I've already been told by an electrician that we're going to need to upgrade the electrical in our home, and that's going to be like $15,000 investment on top of also having to pay for an electric vehicle.
So, though also true, there is one thing I'll add to that, which is that actually happened here as well. But it was important to do because our house wasn't up to fire code. So, legitimately, if you can't handle an electric vehicle, your house is probably not up to code. So, as a not involved in this particular discussion, but might be a thing that we might want to look into anyway.
Well, it's up to code in the sense that as long as we don't change anything, the instant we change something, then it's not up to code. That's how the code basically works. Is as long as
Yeah,
you don't
you're
it is.
grandfathered
change anything,
in.
you're fine.
Yeah,
right.
well, we were too, but
Right.
the point was that we had breakers that were from 1978.
We have some breakers that are from 1972. So
So that's the problem is that's fine, but they throw all the time, for no reason because they're super sensitive now.
So when we
ours
moved,
don't grow at all, but
So-
Anyway, most electric cars, just as a side note, Brian's trying to break in here. Sorry, Brian. Most electric cars can trickle charge, and that even though that's slow,
Mhm.
it can go through it. Usually well, Mariah drove 20 miles a day during the time we were using the trickle charge, and it was always charged by the next morning. Now she's up in Boulder, so she's going a lot further every day. However, we also, when we got our service upgraded, we put 2 dryer outlets in the garage, which charged the car completely in 4 hours. So, um, so it's kind of, that's a different thing, but they're dryer outlets. It's the same outlet as a dryer. So you could theoretically reroute a breaker to a dryer outlet and have 4 hours to charge. But anyway, the point really wasn't to say that electric cars are better, because I actually do agree with Brent. There are moments when electric cars are not better, and there are moments when they are in fact better, and that's not the point. The point that I was frustrated with was how much derision was in that thread. That it was all just a liberal conspiracy to where they've convinced the liberals that electric cars are better, so that liberals will go out and then buy a whole bunch of stuff from China, so that we will be dependent on China. And I'm like, all of that doesn't even make sense. I mean, first of all,
Well, it doesn't make sense in the sense of most of the companies that are purchased that you purchase from, like even American cars, regular cars, gasoline driven cars, have parts from China.
right. Well,
Um,
that's what
like
that was my counter argument, was that oh, that's nice, good job, guy. My counter argument was, I mean, they were sitting there saying, well, what about the rare earth mining and everything like that? And I said, you are aware that catalytic converters have palladium and platinum, and those are rare earth minerals too. And in the catalytic
Okay, but
converters, it had to have
a catalytic converter is not on the same scale of a couple 100 pounds of batteries.
it isn't, except that we've been doing it since 74.
So you could argue over time the economic impact of the rare earth metals we've needed for catalytic converters is somewhat equal to what we've needed in the short span we've needed
Right.
for lithium ion batteries.
And the reason I say that is
But
because
what is the impact? What is the impact of lithium ion batteries over the same time span? I would argue that's probably a little worse.
it will be, which is why Tesla has already figured out how to recycle the batteries.
Right. Well, they're also figuring out new battery technology outside of
Exactly.
lithium ion. I think they're looking at an iron-based one, which is
They're
interesting.
looking at something completely different as well. You're right. But I mean,
Yeah.
the point is, every time I bring up, well, Tesla's recycling it, they're like, haha, but that doesn't mean anything now. And my response to that one is, well, yes, it actually does, because we won't go through that many lithium ion before before they perfect this technology, and it won't be as destructive to the environment as we have already done with palladium and platinum. Is sort of my argument, which is
Right.
it will at some point, if we stay with this technology, which I don't think we will, because even Nissan is after this one too.
Well, I think that's also. I think the argument of itself assumes that the technology will be there in X amount of time, and that's a positive outlook on it.
Except
The
the technology,
pessimistic outlook would be there have been a lot of technologies that we have seen that were going to be coming and then never happen because mass production becomes an issue, or this other blocker gets in the way of making it a more mass scale technology that we can have for adoption.
and though I agree with that, I mean, obviously there's no guarantee.
what do you mean adoption? Why would it prevent us from having kids, Bill?
Adoption of technology.
And though that is true, you can't actually, like, say, well, we'll never grow, because who knows, they may never fix it. I mean, You can't do that. That's not a reasonable thing. Really, all I'm saying is I don't mind if people were to try out electric cars and go, it was okay, but I didn't want one. What I'm bothered by is electric cars set fire to kittens. That's kind of like, I don't even know where you're getting this data from. Somebody had posted, well, that was what I was saying earlier. Somebody had posted on this forum that it costs about the same in coal usage to power an electric car 1-to-1 as it does with gasoline. And I went and looked it up, and I'm like, well, yes, if you take the power load of downtown Denver at high noon in the middle of July, then yeah, I mean, the way that Excel charges things, it costs that much. But if you charge at night, which most people would, and stuff like that, or like we do,
Well, I mean,
then
that's that assumption that everyone has
yeah,
that.
but gasoline doesn't change the price if you buy it at noon or if you buy it at 6 o'clock at night.
Right.
Right.
They have more
It doesn't
stability
change.
than power does.
Right. So you could actually influence how much you use and how expensive it is by choosing your charging times. The other thing is, like, we've got panels on our house, right? So, we are off the grid. We don't weigh the grid down. So when we're running our electric car, we're not hitting the grid at all. It doesn't cost anything technically. So there's that. And we're not the only ones. I mean, I'm just looking out my window here and I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses have solar panels on them. So we're not the only ones here in this neighborhood.
Well, that's where that technically comes in too, right? Because you're paying the loan that it took to get said solar panels, or if you paid up front, you're then amortizing that over X amount of years.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you have to factor that in. But if you go off the grid, then I mean the point really that I was kind of getting at is no matter which way you look at it, electrics are going to be better because there's a lot more that we can control in it. If you're talking about fossil fuel consumption, then you can argue that electrics still burn fossil fuel by running off of the Cherokee power plant downtown. Except that all of our electricity doesn't come from the Cherokee power plant. It comes from 4 solar, it comes 75% comes from the Cherokee plant, but we've got 4 solar fields, a couple of wind farms, and like 16 hydroelectric dams, which are powering our grid too. And so no matter which way you look at it, it's 25% less complicated, So that's less fossil fuel consumptive. And so people keep saying, well, that means that it's not environmental. And I'm like, well, it has to be by nature. Even if it's 1% less consumptive, that's still environmentally friendly, more environmentally. Because there's no way I can ever get my Jetta to not be 100% consumptive. It'll always be
100%. Without actually, you can, but you have to modify it.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just talking. Well, and I mean, and if you start modifying cars, then we get the same argument of, well, yes, but you put solar panels on, and that you have to fold that cost in, and yeah, that's true. But now you're quantifying it. If you just compare the Leaf.
No, I just was throwing out an example of how you can improve a car.
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to quantify it.
I'm with you. I'm just saying that, if you compare the Leaf to the Jetta 1-to-1, and we assume A, I'm not using solar panels, and B, we're not modifying the Jetta any, just to make this easy. Yeah. No matter which way you look at it, the grid of Colorado uses 75% fossil fuels and 25% renewables. So consumption of my Jetta is always going to be 100% fossil fuels, and the consumption of my Leaf will always be 75% fossil fuels. So 1-to-1, it's that way. But also, I mean, you're right. Maybe people, well, like my buddy Kevin My buddy Kevin lives in an apartment complex. He'd love to get an electric, but they won't let him run a power line out to the parking lot where he sticks
Right.
his car. So there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do. He's
Mhm.
screwed, you know. Or
Yeah,
with electric-
housing restrictions aside,
Yeah.
consensus is we all agree that electric cars would be better for the environment overall, whether it reduces it by 25% or 50% or however the local government has set up the electrical grid.
Uh-huh.
That's where we're at.
Yep.
Whether people like it or not, it's slowly becoming more and more prevalent, especially with the rising gas costs that we keep having fluctuate every few years or so.
And legitimately the only
So
complaint I was having was not whether you could compare the two and which one was better. It was this is the second time that a news station has shown up in my feed with, we've compared the two and electrics are edging out the gasoline cars by, about this much, but really and I'm like, except that it's, yes, if you take the most expensive car at the most expensive time and compare it to the least expensive gas car at the least expensive time, then yeah, they pretty much are right equal. But if you take the least expensive car at the least expensive time on both, then electrics have a major advantage. And that's all I really was trying to get at. And it's so weird how these people have this Dunning-Kruger curve of, well, we all know that, you can't drive an electric in snow and ice because you'll die because they don't have heaters, apparently. And I'm like,
well, first, I think I figured out where I heard the Dunning-Kruger curve,
uh-huh,
and that's actually from advertising courses and advertising in general.
you got it.
When you're trying to advertise something, you need to appeal. For lack of better terms, this is actually what has been told to me in advertising, and I'm pretty sure Guy knows what I'm about to say.
The
You
lowest
have to appeal to the most basic of intelligence.
lowest common denominator.
So when you're talking about this curb, you have to start that your common buyer is the one that is essentially an idiot,
Yep.
which sucks.
I think there's also the argument that the most vocal members of any group is always going to be the extremes of said group.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
whenever
in this
you're
case,
hearing it, you're always going to be hearing the extreme of one side or the other. Most people are always in the middle.
Right. I think that's definitely a thing. I'm certainly not going to argue with that. Although it was fascinating in this particular, this is the second time I've been on a thread where there were 60 or 70 posts of people who knew how electric cars all worked and were just telling us that they sucked. And like three of us who actually owned an electric car going, wait, where did you get this? Like the one that I love is well, your insurance goes up. Our insurance didn't change. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't go up. It didn't go down. It just was.
Well, it might go up if you pay like $100,000 from some fancy Tesla, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe.
They're insuring a higher priced vehicle.
Yeah. But we went from a Chevy Aveo to a Nissan Leaf, which were apparently comparable vehicles. So they're roughly the same.
Well,
But
I'm just calling out the fallacy of that argument in that, of course, it went up. You bought a more expensive vehicle.
Car, right? Exactly.
It would have happened if you had paid for a Maybach or
then
a Maserati.
Yeah, that's back to why do they keep comparing the Tesla to a Yugo? They should be comparing the Tesla to a Cadillac Escalade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
curious what would happen. I'm curious what would happen. So, like, the argument for electric vehicles right now is obviously the cost of gas right now is quite expensive.
Yeah.
But I was thinking in Florida, what would happen with electric vehicles? Because in Florida, and I imagine in California also, it's very common, especially during the summer months, that they will do rolling blackouts and stuff like that. So your car could be plugged in but not be getting charged because they shut you off And
Well, and
you can say there's those hot times, there's those more used times of the day, and so electricity is less expensive at those times. Okay, but let's say you shift your population to 80% being on electric vehicles. Okay, well, now 80% of your population is all charging at that same time of day, making it a high use time, increasing electrical costs, or overloading the grid, causing rolling blackouts.
yeah. Though, so here's the thing. First of all, the blackouts, I'll address that one. Our car goes about 4 days without needing to be charged. If my wife just does her normal thing. So she goes to work every day, comes home, we go to the store, we can go 4 days because she keeps forgetting to plug it in. So we're actually kind of aware of how long it can go. She's over here smiling and nodding, like, yeah, because I keep forgetting to plug it in. So we know it can go 4 days. So if you have a blackout that's 4 days long and you're still going to work, I feel like that's sort of you've got kind of an issue kind of going there.
So for that use case, it'll work. But if
But
any
if you're talking about
percentage,
like, uh-huh,
if any percentage of that 80% that moved onto an electric vehicle didn't have that access pattern, then they might encounter moments that aggravate them with having made the decision to go electric in the first place.
yeah, but I feel like first of all, that's kind of edge case because if you have rolling blackouts, you probably aren't going to be the kind of people to buy an electric car anyway. So probably you'll be the last to convert over. So artist wife was Brent says hi. So but yeah, so edge case, you probably will be amongst the last to convert over. By then, our grid will be powerful enough to handle it. Because it will. I don't think it's going to just switch over to every car being electric by tomorrow.
That's the optimistic view, right? By then, our electrical grid should handle.
Well, and I mean, like I said, looking outside here. Well,
our electric grid should handle what we do now, but it doesn't.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I have solar panels.
I'm
Legitimately,
just gonna say this right now. We have a half an hour left of the show. Let's get back to talking about arts.
Okay. No, I'm sorry.
Right?
It was a nerdy topic, and I wanted to participate.
I know, and everyone was enjoying it. But let's.
Thank you for talking.
We're starting to get on a tirade. All right, come on, let's get back. Okay.
All right. We can talk next time you visit.
Yep. I'll be there.
Not trying to be mean, really not. But guy,
you're over the discussion.
Yep. Some may argue. My husband may argue that it's because the discussion wasn't revolved around me. That's why I wanted to cut it. But it's all right.
I've been working the whole time. I hope you have been too.
So have I. Look at my table.
Yep, I know. I've been working the whole time.
I know. My husband, however, has a job, and he wasn't doing his job.
Your husband, on the other hand, has not been working the whole time.
Okay.
That's fair. That's an absolutely fair argument.
And he makes more money than I do, and I don't want him to lose his job.
More money than both of us. No, and really, like I said, the argument I wasn't trying to say that electric cars are better. Just hate the Dunning-Kruger curve thing.
Well, like I said, that curve is used in ad campaigns a lot of the times for most of everything, and it appeals to the most lowest common denominator.
Well, that's not necessarily true because it is a psychological thing, and it actually is all of us do it. It's the same,
right?
I knocked. You off of
Well,
the...
it's kind of like we've discussed it before about advertisement on this show. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I do know there are some companies, some advertisement companies that actually do utilize it to actually um, use it to do what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Others do not, but like it depends on the advertiser and the like the client and stuff. But let's be honest, when it comes to art, we need to appeal to a mass amount of people um, that will love it. So
Yep. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't trying to argue with Make Bill not
no, it's not. And you
reach.
weren't arguing. Okay, I
Oh, for
just
crying out loud!
jeez.
Ugh.
What
Something moved. I
what
moved.
moved?
I moved there, right there, that step. Somehow the hand or the move tool was on, but I was zoomed in, so I couldn't see it. So it moved
Oh,
the entire thing over and then chopped it. That's all right. We can still.
oh. Well, that sucks.
Yep, that's all right. All it really ruined was the underside. So that's all right. We'll fix it. It wasn't a layer error. It was a move tool error, which we don't have a meme for the move tool error,
We should make one.
right? No kidding.
Brian, how are you doing? Did we lose Brian?
I think he muted his microphone so that we wouldn't get involved.
Well, no, I was actually waiting for a, a, a good point so I could interject my funny little comment about electrical boxes, and that got steamrolled right through.
Right
Woo!
through. What was your
20
buddy
minutes of
called?
ranting later. It's like,
Right.
damn.
See, there's a reason why I wanted it to stop, Brian.
Yeah, I know.
Guy, I love you. My husband is a really fantastic person, but you guys talking to one another, it's a lot.
It's all right, dude. It's all right. But be prepared. I may pay you back someday. Bum, bum, bum.
It's all right. It's all right. When you pay me back, I'll just make sure that you can talk about Japan for like an obscene amount of time. How's that sound?
There you go. When I was in Japan, okay, you have to drink now.
4 shots later.
Right.
Guy, I don't know if I can keep up with this discussion.
Yeah, alcohol poisoning is a real thing.
uh, Thank you, Brian, for knowing where I was going.
That's what I was saying. All right. I agree, Brent. I would love to sit down with you and Bill someday without Pepper, so we don't annoy Pepper.
Do you know what? You need to get Bill when he's on when he's not working, so that you can do that.
Yeah, on a weekend, which won't be this weekend apparently, or yeah, this weekend or
No.
next first Saturday. Okay, I think I might be pretty good with this. I put a racing stripe on it.
Did you make it red?
No, because it's a manga, so everything has to
If
be.
you colored it, would it be red?
Maybe
Just remember, red ones go faster.
they do.
And have more ability for Stitch to steal them.
He took the red one.
Yes, Jamba.
feel like I might have moved the mazer ports into the way of the torpedoes. I hope not.
Mm.
That would be an unpleasant experience. There we go. I did all of the, like out on the wings, I added an arrow, which looks cool. Why did you add an arrow, guy? I don't know. It was cool looking. That's all.
I saw it on another spaceship, and I really liked it.
Yeah, actually, I saw it on an airplane. So does anybody remember Black Sheep Squadron from the 70s? Robert Conrad.
Nope.
Okay. So there was a TV show called Black Sheep Squadron, and it was no, that's Point Towards Enemy. Like off of a claymore. So there was a show in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s called Black Sheep Squadron, and it was about VF 214, which is the Black Sheep Squadron out of in World War II. It was a group of Marines that were in, like, I think the Solomons, but they were led by Pappy Boyington, who Robert Conrad played him, and so they were these misfits, but they had an amazing track record. Like, they were insane. So the Marines tolerated them, and they were in the islands, so that they weren't out of China directly. They were out in the islands. I just don't know exactly where anymore. So,
Like, are you talking like the Pacific Islands,
yeah,
or
Pacific Islands? They were out in they fought in the Pacific, and they had Vout F4U Corsairs, which are the
okay?
airplanes that have the gull wings and stuff like that. And so I used to watch it all the time. And it was one of my favorite. Yeah, South Pacific. They were totally based out of the South Pacific. I just don't know where exactly they were, but that's all right. Anyway, used to watch it all the time. And in the 70s, they still had 7 or 8 Corsairs that still flew. So they went out, shot a whole bunch of footage of all the planes flying around, and had them shooting and flying around doing stuff. They even had a few Texans, which is an American aircraft that looks amazingly like a Japanese Zero. Because there aren't that many Japanese Zeros left. Because the Zeros all got shot down during World War II. So there weren't that many flying Zeros at the time. In fact, I think now there's only 3 that still fly. So anyway, so they did all their aerial shots, got them all together before the TV series started. So all they had to do was, shoot the actors in the cockpit, going, uh-oh, here's the plot of today. I will shoot at the plot. Bugga, 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 bugga. They had a little fake cockpit that they all did with a blue screen behind them, But they had these scenes where the planes are all flying in formation, and then they all peel off one at a time, as they start their attack runs and stuff like that. And one of the planes had a big white arrow on the wing, and you could always see it. And I always noticed that one plane, because they all had slight differences. They were all painted to be in the same squadron. But
Yeah.
with there being misfits was that all of the planes were slightly different. They
Yeah.
weren't uniform. Turns out VF-214 still exists today. They're just a carrier-based squadron, and they're off of LHA. And they were, last time I checked, flying AV-8Bs. So they were flying the jump jets, Harrier jump jets. So I think they've moved to F-35 Lightnings, which is cool. So anyway, and Pappy Boyington's grandson was in charge of it for a while. I don't know if he still is, but it's still cool.
I don't know.
Anyway, so that's where the arrow comes from on the wing of the Kittiwake.
You
And
go,
look at
folks.
this, guys. We're almost there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're almost there with the Kittiwake.
Monkeys, kitties. That kitty at the bottom looks like he's having issues.
Well, I mean, they're in space, and they have to basically de-do a bomb, and that monkey is way too happy about it.
Right?
You know? They have to have fun somehow. They may die.
Right.
YOLO!
YOLO.
So.
Looking good, Pepper. Oh, you can read now.
I can read now, yeah. Thank you.
You're in a spot
Brent.
where you can read.
Brent.
I don't have to translate it for you.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I could mute the video and like see the stuff coming in through like YouTube, but that's a lot of work.
That's what I do whenever I'm over there at the other station. I plugged, and the problem is iPads, there is no mute on YouTube. It's only turn the volume down to 25%.
Yeah.
Right? The monkey knows that the clock resets at 1 second. The cats don't. Oh God! 5, 4, 3, 2. And the monkey's like, yep.
The monkey's like, that's not a 5, that's 50.
Right.
You got some time.
You got time.
And then you just see the other cat that has like the eyes that point out both directions go, wow.
Right. Kablam. Alrighty. We've got that. All that's done. Forward haul is done. The wings are done. Landing gear is done. I think I'm okay with the engines. That means I just have we can close that. Do not save. We can close that. The maser ports are done. I'm going to keep you up because I need to put that out on. Oh, we need one thing. We need maybe not. Maybe. No, not here. Dang it, I can't see. Okay, here? No. Oh, here. Start with the correct one. There we go. Right. We're going to make a large version of the Kittiwake patch. because this is actually just a little too low res.
All right. So I did a watercolor for the first time in a while on Watercolor Wednesday.
Right?
Guy, are you going to do Watercolor Wednesday officially Watercolor Wednesday next week? Or are we working again on the Kitty Wake?
I don't know. Kitty Wake should be done. I should be getting to the point where I can do illustrations for. I really want to get the Kitty Wake done so we can finish this comic that I've got. This 12-page comic. It all takes place at the foot of the Kitty Wake in the docking bay. See you later, Brent.
Bye, Brent.
So if I can get the Kitty Wake done, we can finish this comic. And so, but I pretty much think we are almost done with this. I read it. We are almost done. So we should be able to do every. I guess I should say the long and the short of it is yes. I think next week we'll be back to normal. Doing a Springs comic on Monday, doing illustration work on Tuesday, Thursdays, or maybe just Tuesdays, and then Watercolor Wednesday on Wednesday. I think we should be back to that.
He says now.
Well, I mean, like they say, no good plans survive first contact with the enemy.
Well, and also, let's face it, we're artists. Our plans change on a moment's basis.
Yep. However, I wish to get back to a normal lifestyle. That was the whole point, was that we were scrambling for what's-its. We were scrambling for the conventions. I can do Polygon and say 5. I'm like sitting here doing this, and I'm like, well, I could just make this easy for myself. Apparently make it hard for myself, though, also. And now it's a perfect polygon as opposed to the imperfect, weird polygon that we had before. So anyway, yep, we should be back to Watercolor Wednesday. You can join us for Watercolor Wednesday too, Brian.
Yeah, if I'm not busy.
Just saying, you're qualified to watercolor.
Yeah. With the amount of watercoloring I do.
There we go.
Old Man River. No. I'll behave myself.
Yeah, you can't behave yourself. You tried that before. And how's that ever worked for you?
It never does.
It never does.
It does. So. Well, anyways, I got to
sneeze.
Oh, yawn.
Yawn.
Yeah, that was some serious yawning.
Like Guy, I woke up pretty early.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's what you just said.
You just need to. There's some things about waking up early that I really do enjoy, and then there's other things that stink about it. Woo.
It's agreed. Also egregious, as in the time and the early part. Always egregious.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody want to guess what I possibly wrote up there? And I hope that I did this nicely in a way that won't, in fact, make us hate life.
So, since Guy, you like food. Um, since you like food, and Brian, you probably like food too. There is,
I would eat it from time to time, yes.
yeah, I know, right? So, and since both of you are, I hope both of you are into anime and manga. Um, Binging with Babish has become like the Babish culinary universe. So they now have different things going on as far as like cooking goes. But they have this segment called Anime with Alvin, and they recreate dishes from animes. And the most recent one is the Mega Beef Bowl from Persona 4.
Beef balls.
I think, Guy, you may want to eat. I mean, since you like beef, I think you would probably enjoy it. I don't know if Brian likes beef, so I know you, but I don't know you that well, Brian. I'm sorry. But it's then topped with a runny yolk style sunny side up egg. But it looks like the most massive bowl that you've ever seen in the world.
Ever.
Oh, okay. You like beef. Got it.
I'm also a chef.
Ah, okay. So do you know how to make a mega beef bowl?
No, I'm going to look it up later.
Okay. And then the other thing that then you might actually appreciate this: a non-chef trained person named named Max Miller does another TV like a YouTube series called Tasting History with Max Miller, and
Yep,
he's been
I watch it.
recreating. Okay, so did you see the recent one with the Titanic's?
Oh, I've been watching that every day.
So
That
did
has
you
been
see
a
the
fun
most
one.
recent one with the steak and
Yeah,
the béarnaise sauce and all of that?
yeah, and the palm the palm potatoes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
which I
actually I
think
know that cut that he does for the potatoes. That's one of the cuts I was trained to do, and that is a bastard of a cut.
the sad thing is I remember actually like my parents cheating with that and like buying them in a can.
Yeah,
Yeah. And when I worked at a restaurant, so like what at one point when I worked at a restaurant or worked in restaurants, they actually used canned or bagged palm de I forget the full name, but essentially it
Pomme de
translated from
France. I'm just
well, yeah,
adding
no.
funny things.
Well,
No.
actually, technically, if you want to be technical, the actual translation from the the potato dish itself starts out with dirt apple.
Yep,
yeah.
yep, yep, yep.
So it's weird, um,
There's
but
nothing worse than those dirt apples. Evil little dirt apples.
well, yeah. Brian, do you also
Yep.
watch Pasta Grannies?
Which one?
It's Pasta Grannies, a British woman with her Italian film crew go around Italy meeting 80, 90, 100-year-old Italian grandmothers, and they have them make pasta for her. so that the art of pasta making is not dying, but actually being shown on how to do it properly.
I have not. I need to see that one.
Yeah, that one's another good one. They have a lot of good ones. I don't like the format that they've been doing, where they put when they don't have content, they're like doing like less than a minute reel style TikTok ones. But yeah, I don't. I like everything else.
Have you seen? So, have you seen the whole thing with Uncle Roger?
Yeah, I have. I love Uncle Roger.
Okay, so there's a chef that was watching the Uncle Roger videos and kind of explaining the techniques behind the different dishes, and then watching in horror as everything goes wrong. So, like, he's watching the Jamie Oliver one, and at one point, Jamie Oliver pulls his fried rice off the heat and then puts water to it. And both him and Uncle Roger start screaming no at the same time. And he pauses the video. He goes, "Why would you add what?" And he stops. He goes, "It's because your frickin' chili jam was burning and you were trying to save the dish. You
Yeah,
didn't put that chili jam out."
Jamie's Oliver's fried rice video is now infamous because of it. Yeah, Jamie Oliver's version of fried rice like was massacred by that one. Another
Everybody.
another one was like the British cooking show one. I loved that one
That was the
because
original one that started it.
yeah, but then did you know that Uncle Roger went on like did a segment with her and taught her how to do it properly?
The best one is he's walking to the building. He goes, "If Uncle Roger disappeared, this is his last known location," as he's pointing at the street number of the building.
Yeah, but Nigel actually did a interview with Asian Boss, by the way, 4 days ago. So if you want to read the history of Uncle Roger and where it all started and how he got to England and all of that stuff, it's all in there.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, the YouTube channel is called Asian Boss. So
I'm now saving all of the patches that I have just made. Now we have the official Kitty patches,
sweet,
both in color and in black and white.
and just in time because it's 11 o'clock, sir.
Now 11 o'clock, and we've finished this, which means that now I can do the tails tomorrow or probably today, depending on how things go. But either way, I can now complete the work on the Kitty because she really just kind of needed to finish up her patch. So
okay, well, it's all good. I from what I did see of your work today, I did enjoy seeing it.
And you made a simian Kittian thing, and I like
I don't
that.
know what to call the kitties. Like I honestly, I think I made them the same size, and I like upscaled the monkey.
Mm-hmm.
But I will be honest, they look like the cats are more intelligent than normal cats.
Yeah.
Just really panicked.
You know what they,
because
you know
they're
what
in
they
space.
probably are? They could be AI holograms.
True, very true.
Yep.
Very true. Yeah. But if you were to add this, if I were to say you need to add the simian race to yours, I think that's a bit much for your comic. I'm sorry.
Probably right.
So, but not too much for one of my comics. I'm gonna
Yep.
have simians in it.
You're just saying.
Yeah, they're gonna be an allegory.
A simiagory.
Simiagory. Sounds dirty.
Or explosive, one of the two. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Well, that's it, guys. We're out. And that's it. We're out. We're out. But thank you for joining me, Pepper. Thank you for joining me, Brian. And to Brent and Donald and Hone and Ghost Hand, who were all here today. We had a full house. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all tomorrow. As we said yesterday, same cat time, same cat place.
Bye, George!
Keep your eyes on the stars. Bye!
Bye.
Computer, good night.